Well, this is what someone's asked me to do. It is a 2010 Peugeot 207. It's just failed the MOT on this sill, which, as you can see, rightfully has as well. Oops, nothing there. But here, she's tender. I'm not starting this for a couple of days because she's really tender. Makes you think how that wasn't failed last year really, but we don't know. So what I'm going to do, the customer don't want nothing special on it. He just wants it welding just to get it through another MOT. So I'll change the design of the sill a little bit for complex to try and save him some. Say the sill comes down here, it takes a little turn up, then it comes back down, and it comes back down. So what I will do is, I ain't got to break this long. I'll do it in 2 halves. I'll do a tidy enough job for him, but I will do it to sort of a budget that he's got, sort of thing. Just keep it simple. I'll go from here round and I'll just dive it off straight with a 90-degree edge on the sill, weld it in there. So I'll keep you updated on the process. Just a quick repair. Everyone might not like it, but I say he only wants to keep it on the road for another year, so I'll just does what he wants, you know what I mean. So I'll be back soon with some updates. Well, back again. I just had a little bit of a clean up going down, and bottom lip is okay, it's quite solid, so you got to worry about that. As you can see, it's pretty bulged. There's a little bit of flakiness inside in this intermediate sill, but it's solid, there's no holes or nothing there, which I was quite relieved. I don't like doing them. It's going to be easy to weld. So as you can see, it's going to be out there. I'm going to, when it's done, when I've made my plate, I will cut this off along this edge here to get rid of that, but I'll use it there just to keep the shape so I can do me sill. Right, back soon. Right, so the next part is, I fabricated up, I ain't got a brake or anything that will fold it 6 foot length, what this is. So what I've done it in 2 halves. This is here, I've made these sills up, or bottoms up, whatever you want to call them. Here, they sort of fold up, kink up. I've got to trim them up to shape, but I've got it sort of where it kicks back up on itself as they originally do. It's not as much of a kick up, but I can't really get no more on the folder that I've got. And I've done this leading edge there where my thumb is. That is where that sort of kick up and curve round. I've slightly curved the plate there, so when I push it over, that will go around nicely. Halfway there, as you can see, this is the other plate that I made. As you can see, again, I've done the same, curved it round. I've done the curve on the edge of my ramp here, just sort of pushed it round it, and it's close. I've got to trim this one down a bit at the front, where it comes down a little bit, because the sill enters high at the front as it is the back. So I'm now going to, what I'm going to do is now trim this crap off here and do it like that, and trim the edge of the bottom of the sill I'm making up to fit round here somewhere, whatever's got to be done in there. And again, here I don't quite need to come to the front, I can probably come to about here somewhere and then sneak it in just up here or around here. And like I say, this car's only going to be, it's last year, it's going to be on the road this year, I should imagine. The other side advised, but it is very bubbly. But the bloke, he just wants it getting for another year, so I think it'll be scrapped next year. I'm using 1.2mm tin gauge, which is I think 16 gauge, which is here. I've got nothing fancy. Do you know what I mean? These are my tools. Here's my brake that I made myself, that does 3 foot, so it's quite handy. And I can take it out of the vice and just lob it in the corner out of the way. So right, I'll be back when I sort of pin it into position for you. There you go. As you can see, I've trimmed it up, got the rot out of it. I do try and keep as much here as I can, especially when I'm going to be welding it over here somewhere. I'm going to cut it in down here somewhere. Well, not going to cut it in, this is just going to be an overplate, this is, but I'll try and keep as much of this curve here as possible, and here, and here. So when I put my steel in under here, it gives me something to roll against when I roll it back, to keep it quite a nice sort of shape. It is not going to be the most prettiest of jobs, but you got to sort of make it half decent and for yourself sort of thing, really. So I'm going to paint the back of the tin with some weld through primer on both bits on the back side of it, and I'll give in there a spray. But as you can see, the all in underside, the inner bit, their factory holes there, is all solid, so there's no worry about seatbelt anchorage points or nothing being soft or anything, so it's going to be quite a strong repair, really. Right, so get on. Right, there we go. She's sort of clamped in place for now. So like I say, I'm going to trim it here down a little bit. I'll do that when it's on the motor, and I can work out exactly where it's going to be. So where the join is going to be, they're going to transition into each other quite nice. I say it ain't got to be nothing special, but it's just got to be for an MOT. But as you can see, it is looking a lot more tidy. This will fold round nicely, as you can see there. So yeah, I'm well happy with that so far. That's coming out. Right, back with another update. There you go. What I do first is always weld the lower lip on, but as you can see, and also I tack the two joins, the two plates together, so it keeps it all nice and lined. But as you can see, I always plug weld it or spot weld it on at the bottom to hold it all in place, so you can work around that. Well, as you can see, I've welded along the bottom edge. It always looks shit, welding does, I mean rubbish, until you clean it up a bit, but that's alright. So I always do the bottom edge first. I'm a very hot welder as well. I like to have my welder on a high heat, so I make sure I get the penetration in there, as you can see by how far the line's gone up. But now I'm going to sort of weld that little bit up, and then tack weld the top of it on, trim it down, then I'll show you from there. That is where I've got to trim off. As you can see, starts on the back, it's above the tape line. I've got to trim off. Okay, sort of taper down a little bit more, and then there. So I'm going to trim that off next. Then I'll pull the top of the sill over. As I always weld along the bottom, because you can get a good push against it, and you ain't got to worry about it popping off or anything. But other people might like welding from the top. I'm not saying I'm the right way or the wrong way, but this is how I do things, and I've always done things. There you go. As you can see, it's now tacked in place. I rolled around there pretty well. I'm happy with that. So it's pretty straight down the car as well. So now what I'm going to do is start seam welding it up. You see, like down the line, which is pretty good. All around there. So I like to do hot welds, so I get the old penetration there, as you can see. So right, back soon. Right, there we go. She's all welded in. Like I say, the welds always look better once I've had a grind down than they do when it's just been welded. I always do like 1.5 2 inch bit. Do somewhere else, do somewhere else, do somewhere else, then do somewhere else. Let it cool down so you don't get no metal distortion. As you can see, looking down at it, it's looking pretty straight, really. The next job is I'll get the sanding disc out and give her a bit of a clean up. But there we go. It's all been dressed back now. Shit, nearly tripped over. Fucking plug. But yeah, there you go. I say, it's not the neatest thing anyone's, but it's quite respectable. A straight, as you can see. So there we go. I always give it a bit of a flat disc down afterwards. So underneath, always look better. So there you go, where the join is, pretty good. Where the join was. So I'm now going to put some black on it. I'll give it a bit of protection, then the bloke can have it back. Right, so back for the last part of the video now. There you go, it's all been painted. Still a bit damp in places, but that'll do him. That's fine. What I use to paint my stuff in, my Sill work in, is this. I swear by it, it's not the cheapest stuff, but it is. This is what it's called. So Auto Tech Professional Stone Guard Black. I've had cars come back from MOT a year later, and that stuff is still black, and it's not let rust come through. It's a nice matte finish, as you can see up there. So right, that is it. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe if you like, up to you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Now I repaired this 207 Sill. Thank you.